So we're going to go through this pretty quick, kind of just walk through the confirmation packet. So you guys are all fifth grade parents, got a fifth grader going into sixth grade. No, sixth grade going into seventh grade. Sorry, my bad. Not fifth grade. Sixth grader going into seventh grade. So that means confirmation is kind of starting now. We've kind of taken the sixth grade out of confirmation this year. That was the new thing this year. And kind of turned it into this fifth and sixth grade tween ministry. That was kind of like a pre-confirmation was the idea. So kind of getting you ready for confirmation to start in seventh grade, kind of trying to stage things a little bit. Because with confirmation comes a little bit more expectations. We have some requirements and that kind of stuff that come with that. And kind of trying to stage that out a little bit so that it isn't all just hit it once and it's like, oh my gosh, I got to do sermon notes and hours and all these things out of nowhere. So we'll just kind of dig into it. So everybody has one of these packet things here. If you want to kind of flip to the first couple pages there, the only thing I'm going to really say about that, I encourage you to read it. It's just kind of general confirmation why we're doing this, what it is about. The only thing on there that I was going to point out to you guys is on that Meet Us page, I kind of talk about how I'll communicate with you guys. So Pastor Keith or Pastor Gary, you guys will have Pastor Gary first. He'll send out his own email communications, but I send out you're probably already getting it from me, but a weekly email that has, hey, this is what's going on. We have Band that we use to communicate, so if you have that, you can get the information there as well. And then I send a text message out too, if that's something that you want, I can add you to that. That little QR code that's on there takes you to a little form that you have to fill out, and then I can add you to the list to start getting a text message from me as well. So those are kind of the ways that we communicate everything for events and stuff like that, because a lot of this kind of stuff, there is kind of the consistent like weekly class, but for a lot of the other requirements, it's stuff like service projects and stuff like that. Those are all things that we do as like a youth ministry. So they're a little bit just scheduling, stuff like that, making sure everybody's on the same page. That calendar that's in there that we'll talk about later is pretty much accurate for next year. There might be some small tweaks here or there, and there are things that we do that are service projects that are not scheduled out that far in advance. There'll be things that like the Women's Choice Center does a clothing swap. I don't have the dates for that until like the month before, but whenever they do, I'll send that out through that email or through that text and be like, hey, if you want to come help out, it's a good way to get some hours. So, any questions about all that kind of stuff? We can dig into this, get through this pretty quick and easy, painless. All right, so you're gonna go to that page that has essential habits, whatever I put at the top of the page there, of the Christian life. These kind of requirements, these things that we kind of have set as a part of the program, this is not just Pastor Gary and Pastor Keith and myself trying to be mean. These are things that we would expect a Christian to do. Attending worship, taking sermon notes. I mean, that's something that my wife does way better than I do. But I try to take not as formal as the sermon note that we use, but notes during the sermon. Hey, I'm paying attention. I'm going to try to get something out of this every time. And then regular participation, being involved in your church community. That's kind of things we would expect of any Christian, and we're just kind of adding some structure to it for confirmation to give some guidance to that. So, starting at the top there with worship attendance. As you'll see through that page, there's some stuff in red. Pastor Keith and myself and Pastor Gary are going to sit down at some point and kind of finalize some of these things. So some of that stuff in red is still kind of going to be finalized, but you guys will get another form like, hey, this is it. This is what the expectations are in the fall when we actually get started. But none of the numbers should really change. They're all going to stay pretty consistent. I'm going to try and keep it consistent this year because we keep making changes. I'm going to try to keep some consistency year after year after year. But these are the kind of where we're sitting. So 12 worship services, 12 sermon notes. So that means from August, September timeframe till May, I want to see you 12 times in church and try and get 12 sermon notes in. That's the idea. So you got about 9, 10, 11, whatever months to do that. I did the math on it. If you come to most of the Christmas services, you can get it done in like 2 months, if you really, really wanted to. The idea is to just, once, twice a month, I want to see you in church because church is good. And then the sermon notes, that's kind of last year how we did it. That was kind of how I tracked if you were in church. I took your sermon note as I was in that service and I paid attention and so on and so forth. We're going to add a little bit to that in just there's the guest books that we have in the sanctuary that probably a lot of you guys already fill out anyway. We're just going to use that as well. We're going to combine those two things. So it'll be a sermon note, 12 services, and then make sure you sign your name in the guest book so that we can verify that. So that's kind of the only thing with that. Make sense? 12 times in church over the entire program. That's not per semester, that's over the entire program, 12 times, or the entire year. Regular participation. This is where we kind of get into a little bit more of the confusing stuff, and just making sure we all are on the same page with this is, it's 12, so 12 services, 12 sermon notes, and then 6 education events and 6 service projects. So I try to keep it kind of simple in terms of numbers. It's 12, 12, 6, 6. So with those two things, service projects and education events. Service projects are anything that we do through the church. We kind of changed that. It used to be like hours, and so you have to track hours here and hours there and all these kind of things. I tried to, in my mind, simplify it. It's just come to 6 youth service projects, or if you help out at the church, if you have a daughter that does the nursery, or a son that helps with some random service project that we do at the church. Eric and I will sometimes text people and be like, hey, we're digging a hole in the playground, you want to come help, or whatever it is. Any of those kind of things, 6 of that kind of stuff. So we have pretty regular like service projects that we'll do that are in the calendar. Those definitely count. Any other things that you do in the church. So that's kind of the requirement I added that changed a little bit, is it's got to be through the church, because our primary goal with those is community building, trying to build community within the class, get the kids to kind of interact with each other, build some connection that hopefully will kind of carry them into high school, kind of build some friendships here. We kind of build on that all the way through kids, middle tween club, all that kind of stuff, take it into high school is the idea. So 6 service projects in and around the church, and some of the things we do out in the community, whatever it is, 6 of those. Education events, as of right now, we've got Sunday school. Is 100% one of the things that counts for that. The other opportunity with those is those teen nights that I do. We do about once a month. I'm still kind of finalizing the calendar a little bit, but as long as we have those, that'll be another opportunity for you to catch one of those education events. Yet again, if you come to church most of December, you could probably have like 90% of this knocked out in one month if you really wanted to. But you spread it out over an entire year, which is like our goal, and this is why I'm talking about this now, is that you guys can kind of plan, because I know you guys all working on like 10-year calendars with as busy as your kids are. Just kind of trying to get all this out ahead of everything before schedules get too crazy. So, does all that make sense? I know I just word vomited at you for 10 minutes or whatever. Pretty straightforward. Cool. All right, so I know it's not any huge changes for folks that have been in the program before, but just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. The last thing with that is acolyting. So some of you guys have already been acolyting off and on if you ever want to. The schedule is open to 5th through 8th graders. When you go into 7th and 8th grade, it does become a requirement. And how we're going to do it this time is it'll be twice a semester. So that's the only thing that's per semester. Everything else is the entire year. You just got to try and hit these 12, 12, 6, 6 over a year. Acolyting is the only thing that's a little different. We're going to do 2 times a semester. Now, if you do one of the special services, which is Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, Good Friday, Maundy Thursday, Easter Sunday, if you do any one of those 5, that counts for both of that semester. Make sense? So if you do Good Friday, how I do it is I send a schedule out that has the entire fall semester worth of services. And so then if you get on there and you take Christmas Day, right when I send it out, boom, you're done. You don't have to worry about it till Christmas Day. That's the only time you got to acolyte. When I send out the spring one, and usually I do it like November, December time frame, you take Easter, boom, you're done for the entire semester. You don't have to worry about it. So that's kind of where that sits. That's the only thing we made a huge change to that this year, but that's kind of where we're at. 2 times a semester, make sure everybody kind of works in there a little bit. So any questions about that? Yes.
This is just a question. We've had some kids already go through confirmation.
Yes.
But because of all the details of everything, I was wondering if, I've never seen this done, but if you might consider doing check-ins, like every couple months, give a report about what you have, and all these different things to the parents or the kids or something.
Yes. Yeah, I've tossed around that. I've tried to figure out a way that.
So there's no like last minute scramble or.
I got a recommendation.
Yeah.
A Google Doc that has cause we have a doc at our house that's like,
Uh-huh.
we go through and like are putting the dates in throughout the year, cause we get
Yeah.
lost too.
Mhm.
But maybe a Google Doc because it's centralized location and then we can go look at it and you don't have to send anything out, it's just there.
So, let me ask you, this is the only reason I haven't done something like that. I didn't want people to feel like weird about, like, they can see
Privacy type of
everybody
thing.
else's information. That was my only hesitation, is like, if it's just one big list, and then I can see everybody and where everybody's at. I just didn't wanna have any weird, whatever, I don't know.
Maybe take a full one, I personally wouldn't care, but some
okay.
people might.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
And if you didn't wanna be on it, then you could just opt to not be on
That's
it.
We could do that.
Keep track of it
We could do
yourself,
that.
but it would just be
Man.
like a living document type of thing, right?
Cause I've tossed around that idea, cause I know it's a lot to kind of remember, and it's a year to remember it. So I've been trying to figure out, outside of like me sending a monthly email, which feels like a lot.
That's a
of
lot for all
effort.
the
Yeah.
kids.
To
That's a lot
count.
of kids, yeah.
And to just send it, anyway, 50 emails out every Monday or whatever. Yeah, that's good. I might just do that, and I like that opt-in idea. If you don't want it, fine, fair enough, keep track of it yourself, but, that's a good idea. Well, there you go. See, you guys are solving problems for me. This is what we do.
Sometimes our kids, they don't always keep track, like, do
Oh,
I do
100%.
10, do I do 12 sermon notes,
100%.
and.
Yeah, even this year, I think
I
we
don't know,
did.
I can't keep track of that in detail.
It's a lot of paper.
And it's understandable if they can't too, because it's, like you said, spread out for over such a long time.
It is.
So I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah, sure. No, we can definitely do that. We can definitely do that, and I like that opt-in idea, because it's up to you. Cool. All right. Well, there you go. So we'll do that next year. That'll be. I'll remember that. I was
Yeah.
recording. I'm gonna remind myself of the recording. There you go. Yeah. So that'll be how we kind of do that. And then you guys can keep track of it that way. Other than that, the only two things outside of those things that are like the confirmation kind of requirements is the retreat we do. That date is the first weekend of October every year. So this year, I think it's the 3rd to the 4th. It's a Saturday to a Sunday. And it's just an overnight retreat. This year we're going to, of course, I blank it as soon as I need to actually know the information. It's not Iota Sika this year. We're changing it up. We've gone to Iota Sika, which is the local Lutheran camp, about an hour north of here. This year we're going to a different one that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head. Huh?
Is it the one in Illinois?
It's in Illinois. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, that's gonna bother me. I'll send out an email. There'll be plenty of communication about it beforehand. But basically, it's just an overnight retreat. We drive up on charter buses. It's very fancy. We go up on charter buses, spend the night, hang out, play games, talk about Jesus, and then come back Sunday. So it's about, usually we leave pretty early in the morning, like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning-ish, and then we come back around 3 o'clock on Sunday. So that's the only other thing that's like a required, like, hey, make every effort possible to be at this thing. It's a huge community building thing that we do. And then the only other thing with that is the banquet, which will be in May. We're gonna we have it this year mid-May, and we're gonna see how that goes. And if it goes well, then we'll evaluate. If it goes poorly, then we'll evaluate. So that'll be kind of where we're at with that one. So that one's not technically dead set. This is the date for the banquet yet. It will be by August. You will know this is when it is. This is when it's going to be. But just we're kind of waiting and seeing how this one goes before we say, yep, this is when we're doing it. So I think I did throw a date in there, but it's not hard and fast. So, any questions about all that kind of stuff? Sweet. All right. The assignments thing, I'm not going to yap about too much. You can read over it. It's just kind of more specific to the classes themselves. And Pastor Gary and Pastor Keith can explain it better than I can anyway. So I'll just kind of let them do that at their time, but that kind of is an overview of what that'll look like. There's an interview at the end of 201, and then there's a paper at the end of 301. And we'll probably continue with the trend of recording 301 videos instead of having them live speak them at the banquet. We still have pretty large classes of 25, huh? Yes.
I'm so sorry. What is the 201 and 301?
Sorry, no, you're good. I should explain that. So we used to have 101, 201, 301 because 101 was 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. We took out 101, but we kept the 201, 301
Oh, okay.
because it kind of, I don't know, I liked it. So
they're
7th and 8th
doing
grade.
101 right now, right?
Yeah, they're kind of in 101, which is essentially tween club, tween stuff,
Okay.
and then they'll be in 201, which is 7th grade, 301, which is 8th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
no, you're good. You're good. So, any questions about the assignment stuff? Like I said, they can explain that too, and whenever we have that parent meeting in August, they can explain it more too. And then the last thing really on this is just the calendar. These pretty much will be the dates for everything that we do, events wise. So some of those are pretty cut and dry. Most of them are pretty, if they sound like a servant event, they're probably a servant event. And yet again, you'll get more information about them as we get closer to them. But there is about one servant event a month. So it's pretty feasible to get all 6 of them done. Sometimes we even have two events that kind of overlap in a month. So it's pretty feasible, especially if you do anything outside of just the youth stuff, like if you help with setting up the donuts, or you do nursery, or you help with Sunday school in some capacity, any of that kind of stuff. The only thing with any of that is I don't track that for you. So if you do, just let me know and then I can track it, because I don't see what everybody else is doing around here. So if you have a daughter that's doing X, Y, or Z thing, just be like, hey, Dalton, she was in the nursery X, Y, Z weeks. And I'll be like, gotcha. I don't question, I don't care. You tell me, I believe you. So I just want to see you guys doing that kind of stuff. So with that though, actually, one other thing with the service projects, we count summer stuff for the next year. So like if you help with VBS or whatever, it counts towards 201 and it counts for 2. So if you come to VBS and you help for most of the week, yet again, I'll take your word for it, then that's 2 of those 6. So you do that, you're like halfway done before you even start. And then also we are doing summer service projects as like a youth group. We're going out to Camp Restore Detroit, and that's open all the way down to 5th graders. I just require a parent to participate too. So if you really wanted to go to that, you just have to reach out to me probably pretty quickly. We can get you on that, and that would count as another 2. So I guess if you did both, you'd come with 4 and you could be done before you even started. But that's a whole other thing. If you have questions about that, we can talk about it afterward. But that's kind of it. The only other thing with that is for like kids stuff and for tween, we kind of do the Wednesday night, Sunday school. You have 2 options, come to whichever one works for you. With confirmation, it is on Wednesday nights, 6 to 7 o'clock, and that's it. That's when class is. So make every effort.
Educational one?
Sorry.
That would be the educational one?
For the actual, so we have the education events that are kind of outside of confirmation class.
Oh, gotcha.
Those are, the idea with that is to kind of build some more community outside of just confirmation class. But the class itself, that's like Pastor Gary's teaching for you guys, is on Wednesday nights, 6 to 7 o'clock. They take Lent and Advent off, so you have some pretty decent sized breaks kind of in between there. But when it starts in September, I think the dates are on there, and the dates are accurate that are on there. So September 9th all the way through November 18th, 6 to 7 o'clock, Wednesday nights, and that's kind of when we have to do it. So that's kind of where we're at with that one. Any questions on that? Cool. Not to be like total legalistic about it, but that's just kind of when we have to do it. And pastors are busy on Sunday morning, so we haven't really figured out a way to do anything else with it. Other than that, I think this key events page is just kind of the banquet again and the confirmation retreat. And we will aim to do 2, kind of like we did this thing where we have 2 identical meetings back-to-back weeks and you pick whichever one works for you. We'll probably try to do the same kind of thing with the confirmation meetings and do 2 identical weeks back to back, pick whichever one works for you, type of thing. Keep it easy for you guys, as easy as possible to make it to one or the other. So, I think that's it. Unless you guys have any other questions for me? Just kind of an overview, kind of get you guys thinking about stuff before we get there, so that it doesn't sneak up on you when we get to the fall. So, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Shoot me an email or whatever else you need, and we'll get you squared away. Awesome. Thank you guys for making the time. Appreciate you guys.